one. So Anthony Davis is still playing like an absolute monster, right? He had just an incredible stretch, but LeBron James wasn't playing. And a lot of questions were, if LeBron comes back, what will Anthony Davis look like, right? Will Anthony Davis still put on a monstrous performance? Will Anthony Davis still play like he's the best player on the planet right now? I mean, he is playing absolute MVP level basketball, averaging, 30 points and 15 rebounds, 5 blocks, like it's like 2K create a player when you put all the stats all the way up. That's the way that Anthony Davis is continuing to play. And last night we saw Anthony Davis keep that performance going. 25 points, 15 rebounds, 4 assists on 10 of 13 shooting, 3 blocks, 1 steal. Absolute monster. Even with LeBron James. LeBron James was still able to chime in with 21, 8, and 5. Did have 9 turnovers, but it was his first game back. Although he does need to kind of, sew up the turnovers. But the point is that Anthony Davis is playing at just an insanely high level, comparable to the bubble, right? Where he just was arguably the best player on the planet and helped lead this team to an NBA championship. And with Anthony Davis playing to this level, it begs the question of, do the Lakers have to make a trade? Right? Now, I mean this in the sense of not like, oh, well, Anthony Davis playing so good, they can win a championship. No, I mean in the sense of because Anthony Davis is playing so good, you want to capitalize on this moment, right? Like Anthony Davis is playing so good and so well that you're almost justified in having to go and make some type of trade, whatever the trade is. Now, I know a lot of people want the Indiana trade. I just personally don't think it makes sense with the way that Anthony Davis is playing right now, because he's playing that way at the center position and he's not shooting the ball well outside in the perimeter. So why would you want to take Anthony Davis out of the position that he is absolutely dominating right now? And I know some people, talk about injuries. I've seen people bring that up, but here's the thing about injuries. He's getting injured just as much, if not more, playing the power forward position. Secondly, he runs the risk of being injured chasing around smaller players, having to guard the perimeter at the power forward position. We're no longer in the day and age where you have all these, low post, just bang down low type power forwards, right? A lot of them are 6'8", perimeter guys that are running around and just shooting from the perimeter, right? And Anthony Davis has to chase these people around. You don't want that. Anthony Davis is playing an MVP level basketball. He is right now the best defender in the entire league right now, from every category. You name it, go look it up. He is absolutely just insane. He's defensive player of the year right now. And if he can continue to play to that level, it doesn't make sense to go get a center to now move him to the 4. Even though he wants to play the 4, he's dominating at the 5. Why would you move him farther away from the basket? And if you got a center like Miles Turner, you're completely neutralizing your advantage of playing big if Miles Turner has to play out on the perimeter the whole game. Right now, he's just basically been, relegated to being a spot-up shooter, right? So, what's the point in that? Why are you going and getting another big man? I would rather see the Lakers go and get other needs. The center position is the least need that the Lakers have. It is. It's the least need that the Lakers currently have. They have 3-point shooting that's an issue, perimeter defense that's an issue, sizable wings that are an issue, too many point guards that's an issue. And if they could take some of those, go make a trade and go acquire maybe some pieces that could really help. I mean, I wouldn't mind Buddy Hield. If you wanted to go and trade just for Buddy Hield, maybe then go trade and go get some other pieces. But I feel Anthony Davis is playing at such an elite level right now. You don't want to blow this. And I know some people are, of course, still concerned with injuries and stuff like that with Anthony Davis, which is understandable. I do understand that. But you cannot operate on the assumption that a player is going to get hurt, right? Almost every big name player in the league has been hurt over the last few years and has missed substantial time. But you can't operate on the idea of okay, well, we can't do a trade because Anthony Davis might get hurt. If organizations operated as if their star was going to get hurt, no teams would ever make any moves ever, right? Because it's like, well, if Anthony Davis gets hurt, then we're, the worst team in the league. Now, I don't want to see the Lakers just do a trade just to do a trade. Like, I'm not saying just go out and just take the first deal on the table, but I think that the level that Anthony Davis is playing at becomes an incentive to now find a legit trade to kind of push your chips to the table. Because this is everything you've wanted to see from Anthony Davis. That passing of the torch, taking over the franchise, being the best player on the court, dominating night in and night out, right? No matter what team, because that was the whole thing. Well, he's playing against bad team. Well, he did the same thing against the Suns in a game that they should have won, where I think if LeBron James played, that was a game that they would have won. Or if they just had another key contributor, they would have won. And I really think the Lakers need some type of either just depth, and so that way you get production by committee, or they need another piece. And I don't mean like a superstar. Obviously, if you could get like Kyrie for pennies on the dollar, then sure. But, I don't think they need another superstar. Just another guy that could take pressure in the scoring department. Because as great as Anthony Davis has been, no one expects him to average 35 and 20 every single game, right? Basically, the numbers that he put up last night, 25 and 15, is kind of what I could see him averaging going forward, in the 25 to 30 any given night type thing, and then chiming in with, 12 to 15 rebounds. He is leading the league in rebounds. And I think, we saw this starting lineup. You got productive guys, right? Like Thomas Bryant has looked great, and just limited minutes. I mean, every game he's played and he's put up at least 8 points. He put up 8 points in just 11 minutes the other night. He's got the high energy. He stretches the floor. He does everything you need. So I don't see the desire to go and get a center. Winning Gabriel has been great for us. So you have Winning Gabriel, you have Thomas Bryant, you have Anthony Davis. I really like that 3 big rotation. I don't think you need to do that. And then LeBron James at this stage of his career is probably best suited to play the 4 because, again, you don't have any low post, heavy baning type 4s. It's just not what it is. They're perimeter oriented 4s, right? I mean, all the teams pretty much just have 4s that stretch the floor. So LeBron is better suited guarding most 4s in the league rather than guarding some of the 3s. But regardless, let's assume that you have LeBron at the 4. You could really use a sizable wing. Even if they just go get a Bojan Bogdanovic and maybe you could get a Saddiq Bey, right? Now you got 2 wing guys. Again, do maybe just a minor move that could really have an impact and really have some upside and kind of capitalize on Anthony Davis and this performance that he continues to ride, because it's no longer been, a game or two. I mean, we're talking now it's been 5 or 6 games, not to mention he had a couple like this earlier in the season. So clearly this is the Anthony Davis we're talking about. He had that rough stretch where he had 3 or 4 games where he had 4 points averaged in the second half, which just is unacceptable. But clearly the Lakers have made an attempt to get him the ball and allow him to be dominant. And he's really embraced it so far. He's really taken on that role. Dennis Schroeder was great last night. And if he can continue to provide that type of production, which I do believe he can, I think it's going to take him a little time to really fully get comfortable, fully get in the swing of things, because one, he's just played an entire summer over in Germany, so he needs to kind of get his legs back and, all that stuff. 2, he just came off of finger surgery, which, he's a point guard. He's handling the ball. He's playing defense. He's shooting. He's doing everything requires his hands, right? So I do think it'll take him a little time to adjust, but if he can be anything like he was, last night, that is huge for the Lakers, and that gives them a piece that they can now rely on, but also makes Patrick Beverley, Kendrick Nunn expendable. And even Russell Westbrook, if you can find the right deal for him, maybe you can move off of him as well. And I just really think you got a core of 5 to 8 guys that just on a regular basis can contribute, right? You got LeBron, you got Anthony Davis, you got Dennis Schroeder, you got Thomas Bryant, you got Winning Gabriel, Austin Reeves, and Walker, right? That's not counting Russ. And the reason I'm not counting Russ is because it's very likely that any big deal that you're going to make, you're probably going to have to include Russ. So let's assume you have, 7 guys. Troy Brown has been a model of consistency. He's putting up, basically 8 to 10 points every single game. But, even if you don't include him, then you have about 7 guys that can consistently night in and night out give you quality production, right? And if you could just go get another like higher level productive player, another higher level scorer, like I said, a Bojan Bogdanovic, something like that, a guy that can come in and plug in and give you 20. Now you legit have 8 guys, right? And you have, 4 to 5 guys that can get you 20 every night. And Walker, LeBron, Davis, Bojan Bogdanovic, and then, if you keep Russ, then Russ, right? That is huge. That is impactful. Now you may be able to be talking like legit contender because you got those pieces, you got those guys. I just think that with Anthony Davis playing the way he's playing, and you still have LeBron James, still want to maximize his window. I think now Davis is giving you the confidence to go out and find a trade and go find a deal and find something that can actually make you a legit contender. Where, Anthony Davis, putting up 4 points or, 0 points in several games in the second half, it's like, okay, it's really hard to justify going and making a big trade to give up all your assets when it's like, well, what do we do after LeBron? Because Anthony Davis clearly isn't the leader. Anthony Davis clearly isn't the guy to take over the franchise. Well, Anthony Davis is showing you that he is that guy. And Anthony Davis is showing you that, like, you put him in a bunch of, like, really solid role players, he's enough to win you some games, right? And, add in LeBron James, now you're a legit contender. So go get those role guys. So that way, Anthony Davis could take us to the promised land and then trust LeBron James to be LeBron James when the time comes and when the time is right. And I've said this, and I'm sticking to it. I really believe if the Lakers make it to the Western Conference Finals, which they have to make that, but if they do, I really believe they win the championship. Because I believe that LeBron James is going to look at that and go, I need to win 8 games. 8 games. I might never have an opportunity to get in this position again. I need to be, 27-year-old LeBron James for just, whatever, 16 games at the most, right? Or 14 games at the most, right? So that is what I could see LeBron doing. And I could see LeBron James just looking at this as like, this is what I've put millions of dollars into my body for. Let me go out and turn back the clock for, 8 wins. I believe he could do that. And then Anthony Davis playing the level he's playing. I've always said, you got LeBron James and Anthony Davis. I don't think anyone would be surprised if the Lakers won a championship just because solely on that. The West is wide open. So if you're Rob Pelinka, you got to be looking at Anthony Davis is playing like an absolute monster. The Western Conference is anybody's game this year. If we can make the playoffs, we could win this Western Conference and make it to the NBA Finals. Still got LeBron James, and, I believe that he has probably another good run in him if you get him in that position. So anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I want to hear from you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. Do you agree with me? Do you think, yes, got to go make a move? Anthony Davis is proven. Now's the time to make a trade. Do you think, no, it's not enough? Keep it, keep the team intact. See what happens. If the right deal comes along, however you feel, good, bad, ugly, somewhere in between, let me know down in the comment section below.